I thought this was a good idea for me to videotape stuff, and I also think it's good to have, proof of your case, and have multiple copies of everything and have different people having it, because that way if somebody kills you and burns down the house, and you lose your, you don't want to just have one set of proof. So, and that's one reason I want to get stuff out on the internet, because and also I'm doing this for my little girl, because, I don't know if I'll, none of us know from day to day if we're going to, how long we're going to live. I mean, I might be in a car wreck and die on my way to church tonight. And I haven't seen Dilara in any contact for 5 months. And, the last time I saw her, it was a good weekend, and we went bowling with my son, and it was good, but I didn't get to say goodbye to her. I didn't, I didn't think that was going to be the last time I'd see her for, who knows. I mean, like I said, I might die before I see her again. But I wanted to talk about this order of protection. This is why I haven't seen my daughter in 5 months. Okay, let me just talk about the order of protection. There was an incident. We did not have a spelled out, specific parenting plan. We just said, before she was born, my daughter's dad had a lawyer write up a agreed order, and I agreed to 185 days of parenting time, and for him to have 180, and we didn't spell out which days or whatever, and I told him, I said, I'm not gonna, you can't have her 185 days, because she's just too little. I'm not gonna, I'm trying to get a shade in here. Yeah, she's breastfeeding, and you can't, and he didn't want her anyway, because he's only got one arm, and he didn't, he just didn't, he wanted to wait till she was older. And I opened my house up to him for almost 2 years, and he came every day for 2 hours a day until she was 3 months old, and then he came every 5 days a week for 2 hours. So he saw her 10 hours, 5 days a week, 10 hours, 10 hours a week, 2 hours a day. And that's good. That's, that's probably better than I know it's better than a lot of teenagers spend with their one-on-one with their parents. But that was good. I felt like that was meeting everybody's needs at that time. And then as she got older, she started spending more time with them. And we, in 4 years ago, in 2000, about this time of year, 2011, we worked out a schedule, because I was trying to minimize contact with them. And because, I went from seeing him 10 hours a week to, I didn't see him on, he wanted to enroll her in preschool 2 days a week. And I said, well, since we've got, you're entitled, if you want to use those as your 180 days, I guess you can determine what she does with it. And that was when she was like two or 2.5. And, so I dropped her off at preschool, and he picked her up. So I didn't see her. Well, the way we had it was, he spent the night with her Tuesday night. I picked her up Wednesday morning. She spent the night with him Thursday night. I picked her up Friday morning. She spent the night with him Friday night. I picked her up sometime Saturday. And it varied. Sometimes, it was 11 or 12, and sometimes it was 2. And if I was sick or had something going on, and he didn't have anything going on, it might be as late as 4. That was rare. It was usually by 2. My daughter was unexpected and unplanned and unwanted, and I kind of got stuck with this man to raise this child, because I wanted her to have both parents in her life, and I did everything I could to try to facilitate them having, a close relationship. And I think I did a lot more than a lot of people. I think a lot of people who got dumped when they were pregnant and treated the way I was treated, they probably wouldn't, be as magnanimous as I tried to be, but I just treat people like I want to be treated. That's what I do. I'm a Christian, and that's the best I know how to do, is follow the instructions in the Bible, love people, and treat people the way I want to be treated. And there was this incident on May 31st that led to this no contact order, and it was absolutely, totally misrepresented, and I'll have to explain it to you. But anyway, okay, so he stopped me from homeschooling, and so at the end of the school year, we were in the middle of our custody trial, and I think the other side was trying to drag it out, because I only had a couple of witnesses, but people who knew me and Dilara and from church, and one of them, the one that has known me for 15 years, they just, the lawyer and the guardian ad litem, they just all this stupid stuff, questioning her, and then we ran out of time, and then they had her come back the next day, so she missed 2 days of work. And I hate that when people take you to court, they don't just, they take over your life, and then they inconvenience your friends, because it's just horrible. It's horrible. Court is just horrible and destructive, and it encourages a lot of meanness. And if they clean up the corruption and quit rewarding abusive people, there won't be so much reason for them to go and if you don't reward that behavior, they'll maybe learn how to parents would learn how to deal with each other in a more healthy and productive way. And if they're not getting, if they're on the power trip and just totally take over somebody's whole life and lie and slander and all, I don't want to, I'm trying to focus on this order protection, but I'm not doing a very good job. Okay, so May 31st, I had sent a letter. I'm going to put all these things on the web. I've got an email I sent to her dad asking about the summer schedule, and because he took away my parenting time by stopping me from homeschooling. So just counting Monday, Wednesday, Friday during the school year, that adds up to like a whole month of 24-hour days. And when I was stopped from homeschooling, the magistrate said that he said, that doesn't mean you can't do all these wonderful things with your daughter outside the regular school schedule. And, which means weekends, after school, and summer. So Dilara and I had all these plans for the summer. And with my older two kids, I've got a 18-year-old and a 17-year-old that are just unbelievably busy during the school year, because my daughter was going to college preparatory school, and my son was in an academic magnet school, and they just had tons of homework, and we're taking college level classes in high school and stuff. So they just didn't have much time, and plus extracurricular activities. So the summer was a time where, that's family time. And Dilara's dad does not have any family here at all. He's got a sister, I think I don't even know what state she's in, but I don't think Dilara's seen her for years, but all of the rest of his family's in Turkey. But anyway, so I sent him two emails on May 24th, and that's part of my problem, is I use a lot of words. I've always used a lot of words. When I write, my ex-husband, when he was my boyfriend, he would talk about, I received your novella today, because we lived about an hour apart, and he was going to university, and I'd write him letters every day, and I'd write like a 10, 12, 14-page letter. And like I said, I treat people the way I want to be treated. I love getting long letters from people that I want to know what's going on, what they're thinking. So I love them. I like getting them. I like writing them. And but not everybody appreciates people who use a lot of words. And to me, that's their problem. It's like, why, if you find it annoying that I send you use too many words, why is your right to not be annoyed more important than my right to communicate in my communication style? I mean, that's just selfish for people to well, I don't write like that. Just, if I got something to say, I'm going to say it, and I'm probably going to use a lot of words, but that's not a character flaw, and it does not make me a bad parent, and it does not make me, it's not harassing. You know, this is my communications with a man I'm under a court order to share custody with, and he himself admitted that we had joint decision making by court order, by agreement. We agreed to joint decision making. And then when he decided to take my daughter away from me, he decided to quit communicating with me too. And he said, I don't want to discuss anything with you. And you can't cooperate if you can't discuss things together, and you can't work together. And so, but he just wanted all the control and just shut, you know, he never responded, almost never responded to my emails. I'd ask him questions. He did not respond in a week's time. He did not respond to these emails about the summer schedule, and I'll put these on the Free Dilara Gadare, just so people could see what I said to him. And in this one, I said I wanted at least control of at least 4 weeks of the summer. She has a 10-week summer vacation, and I told her all the things, because he had said something about summer camps, and I knew she wanted to go to 1 or 2, and I didn't know. Like when my son was in Cub Scouts and he did a Cub Scout day camp, I went with him and I volunteered, and it wasn't, it was still my parenting time and together time and learning time and shared experience time. And it wasn't me just handing him over to somebody else to enjoy his company and enjoy, you know, all the things he was experiencing. So I think it's important for parents to spend time with their kids. Some parents don't think it's important. I think it is. I've got every right to whatever kind of relationship I think, you know, and my daughter, she was doing just fine until he hired an attorney. But anyway, so I sent him 2 emails, and he didn't respond, and I was only seeing him, you know, just drop off and pick up, because he didn't want to talk to me, and I didn't want to talk to him unless I had to. But when you're co-parenting, you've got to engage in a certain amount of communication, and I try to keep it to a minimum. And but you know, we didn't need to discuss this extracurricular activities. That's something that we needed to make a joint decision about. And so I attempted to engage in joint decision or discussion, productive discussion that would lead to a joint decision that we were both happy about and Dilara was happy with. So on May 31st, he hadn't responded to these. I had told him about a couple of camps I thought she would like, and he hadn't told me which ones he was going to do. And I just said, just plan around Vacation Bible School. She always, you know, at our church, we always have Vacation Bible School every summer. She always loves it. And the classical conversations last year, or the previous summer, I'd gone to a parent practicum. And then they call it a geo-drawing camp, where, you know, while I'm doing with this learning about teaching my child, they've got, it's kind of like a camp. Yeah, they call it geo-drawing. And so it was geography and drawing, and she loved it. She loves to draw. She just loves learning, period. And they did maps and all kinds of cool stuff. And the kids are just, those kids are just the best. Homeschooling kids are just, I just think they're some of the best kids in the world. But so that's what we did the previous year, and I said, well, we want to do that this year. So if she's scheduling a camp, make sure you don't schedule around those. And so he didn't reply to my email, and so May 31st, I was dropping her off to spend the night with him. And it was pouring down rain. And I hadn't had a chance to talk to him, and I knew I wasn't going to get out of the car and talk to him there. And so I called him on the phone, and I said, I was asking him, you know, because I wanted to know what camps he wanted to do, and if there were things that I could go volunteer with and share the experience with her, like I did with my son in the Cub Scout day camp. And so I called him on the phone. And I said, I'm like, well, I'm trying to figure out the summer schedule. How much time are you planning on, you know, just trying to figure it out. And I didn't record the conversation. I don't even think he recorded the whole one. If he did, he doesn't want people to hear the whole conversation. But when I got the gist of it is like, what he was planning on doing is during the school day, because they had during the custody trial, he filed false child abuse allegations, and then they got DCS involved, and I got them mad at me, and then because there was DCS involvement, there was a guardian ad litem and a CASA appointed, and I objected, but I do think it's in the law that you have to do that, appoint them if there's abuse allegations. But I objected. I said Dilara she's happy, she's healthy and well adjusted, and the guardian ad litem, no, that was a different time, but at some point the guardian ad litem made that comment, and she says, well, Your Honor, I object to that. The mother's not qualified to make I don't know, she said like a mental health diagnosis or whatever, and I just thought that was stupid. But I objected, and I said, she's happy, she's healthy, she's got a great relationship with her dad, she's got a great relationship with her mother, everything is good. And if you pull some stranger in, and then they look at things, and they've got their own biases and preferences and opinions, and it muddies the water, and it's kind of like a too many cooks spoil the broth situation. And I just felt like, she's a judge. Isn't she supposed to look at the facts and evidence? And I asked her 3 times during the course of the trial to talk to my daughter, and she wouldn't do it. And apparently they depend on the guardian ad litem and the CASA to do all their determination for them. Well, I didn't have a lawyer, so because I challenged people's authority and stand up for my rights, I've alienated them. So it's like I've got my daughter's dad and the guardian ad litem and the CASA, they're all against me, and the DCS lady. But she went away pretty quick because I had not done anything to abuse my child. So anyway, so May 31st, I get mad because when I said, and I couldn't get a straight answer out of him, but he had said he'd signed her up for like a camp the next week. And that's one thing I wanted to talk to him about, because my aunt had surgery on her foot, and I was thinking, well, if you can get her into, if you're going to take 4 weeks out of the month, if you can get them in the first part of June, so I can go take care of my aunt, and then she'd be in the camp all day, and that would just work out well. And then I could be taking care of my aunt, and then when I was available, then those are the times I can, the weeks that I wanted. But he signed her up he'd already signed her up for things he hadn't even discussed with me, and to me that was wrong, because we're supposed to be making joint decisions, and he's supposed to keep me in the loop because we had joint custody. And I said, well, that's, and I got mad, and I yelled at him. I didn't cuss at him. I didn't threaten him. I just said, that's contempt of court, and you can't do that. We're supposed to be making joint decisions. And he was like, basically, well, take me to court. If you don't like it, I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care about you and your relationship with Dilara. I don't care if Dilara wants to spend more time with you or not. He sure didn't care that she wanted to continue to be homeschooled. He told everybody that. He said she wanted to be homeschooled. And right now, when I haven't seen her in 5 months, I know good and well she wants to see me, and he's not letting her do it. So it's obvious from the way he's acting and talking that he does not care about Dilara. It's all about him having control and doing what he wants, and anybody else just it's too bad. So I yelled at him on the phone, and I used to yell a lot, and I used to have a worse temper than I've got now, and I've learned over the last several years, I've gotten, which everybody should, as you get older, you should mature and have more self-control and everything. But that's something, the yelling, when I get upset, it comes out in my voice, and I try to not be hurtful with my words, but I do get loud. And but I know that's stressful for people to, be yelled at, so I try not to do it. But I yelled at him, but I don't just yell at people for no reason. He was hurting me and my daughter by depriving us of our time together at the time where I'm supposed to be nurturing her and meeting her needs and educating her and being a mom to her. And he was robbing me of that. And I've been complaining for over a year. I was complaining to him. The Bible says that it's talking about Christians, but like if your brother sins against you, go to him privately and try to work it out. And if he listens to you, then good, you're reconciled, you got your friend back. And if he doesn't, then go get 2 or 3 people and talk together with them and see if that helps resolve the situation. And then if it doesn't, then go tell it to the whole church. So, I don't know how people always apply, scriptural instruction to real life, but my opinion of that is, you try to deal with it person to person. It's better to talk to somebody than about them. So try to talk to them directly. If that doesn't work, try to get a counselor, a friend, a mutual friend, a family member, somebody to kind of help. And then after that, if they're still hurting you, you've got every right in the world to put some pressure on them from the community. And the thing is, they're like, well, don't say anything bad about him. And that's, I said that in my last rant, is, that you can't not tell people when, you can't let the society hold people accountable when they're behaving in a way that's hurting people. So, okay, so I yelled at him on the phone, got my daughter out, she went and got in his car. And then I go to his car. I don't usually go to his car. Usually, because she's old enough now, we meet in this parking lot, and there's a safe place where she can go. I don't have to walk her to him. Thank goodness, because I really, I've got to say, I love the man, but I love all my enemies. I don't have very many. All my enemies are in this litigation right now. I don't have, I've got good relationships with people, but I do pray for him. I have compassion for him. I feel sorry for him. I think he's got mental problems and he can't really help a lot of the stuff he's doing. And then when he gets the lawyer involved and all these people, and they're validating him, they're validating all this abusive behavior, and it's sick. And I told him when he hired a lawyer, I said, you don't need a lawyer, you need a therapist. And he didn't listen. She didn't listen. I tried to tell her, and I complained to everybody, and I said, this is not what our family does not need. Dilara does not need to have her life turned upside down because her dad wants to cut me out of her life. She had a lot of stability, security, happy, didn't have a worry in the world. But this is a motion I filed, a pro se motion, in December of 2014, and I was I said, father's threatening and harassing mother. That's when he was telling me, well, he's always been bullying me with, well, if you don't, you'd better, take what I tell you can have, or I'm going to take everything away from you. Father stealing mother's parenting time and interfering in child's relationship with mother. I went to the judge. I asked him directly, Dilara's dad, I asked him directly, stop threatening me, stop harassing me, stop harassing me with this little litigation, stop hurting me and Dilara by interfering in our relationship, stop lying about me. And I went to him directly, went to his lawyer, I went to the judge. Nobody, and I've talked to the guardian ad litem and the CASA, so I've done more than gotten 2 or 3 people involved. I went to him directly first. That didn't work. I got these other people, that he's the one that involved these other people anyway, but I complained to them. That didn't work. I've got to have relief. I've got to deal with this, and so it's like, this is like going to the church. This is going to the bigger community, letting them know what's going on. And probably nobody he knows is going to see this, but he knows that I'm not keeping it a secret. And we have different friends. We don't really run around in the same circle. So he's probably not going to get any pressure from anybody. He's just probably not going to like me exposing, shining the light. What I just saw today, sunshine is the best disinfectant or something. But this is a very poisonous, toxic situation, and it's I've got to just deal with it the best I can. And okay, so I sent my daughter, and then I go to his door, and I'm still mad, and I said, "Did you record that?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Good, because I want the judge to hear you say that you're not going to let me have my parenting time in the summer. Out of 10 weeks, you're going to enter in reality, he could have, I mean, it's my time. The law says parents have priority over third parties. So he could have paid $200 for her to go to camp. I could have gone and picked her up and then had her for the day instead of her being in camp, and then dropped her back off, and he couldn't have stopped me. But I didn't want him to waste the money. I didn't want to, it just was not I didn't think that was a good option. I thought us coming to an agreement would be better. And he had signed her up for that week, I think in the next week. And that was okay because I was going to be taking care of my aunt in Hopkinsville. So that worked out well. But the fact that he just didn't intend to give me the rest of the summer, all he was going to give me was that 1 week and 3 days. And he knew I wanted at least 4 weeks with absolutely nothing, no interference. I wanted her from all day long when he was working, like I had her on the days before she went to public school. So, so I said, I want the judge to hear you say you're not going to let me have my parenting time, because that's a problem. That's a problem when you're interfering with the child's relationship with the other parent. And so he had proof of that, and I'm like, okay, good. And then I went and I got in the car, and kind of just caught my breath and thought, I was like, well, that didn't go very well. And because I was going to have to go to court, I was going to have to file a motion and say he's in contempt because he's not he's cutting me out of her life. He's interfering in our parenting relationship. He's not making joint decisions regarding extracurricular activities. And so I didn't want to have to go to court. So I'm like, I don't like taking people to court. I'm only in court because he dragged me. I'm only in court after 18 months because I'm trying to get back what he stole from me and my daughter and my family. So this was all his doing. And I'm just trying to get it back to where Dilara has maximum participation with both of her parents in her life. So I went to leave, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I wonder, because I was like, I wish we could have talked about, but it was like I said, it was pouring down rain, and but I remembered it was May 31st, and my child support is due on the 1st. So usually the last day he sees me, he gives me the check early, and this was a Sunday night, so it's not like I was going to even be able to cash the check until the 1st anyway. So I called him, and I had just pulled out of the parking lot, and I called him, and I said, "Do you have my child support check?" And there was this pause, and then I knew he was lying, and I knew he was thinking about lying. And then he said, "No, he didn't have it." And then I said, "Well, I'm going to be going. If I don't get it today, I'm not going to be able to get it till Friday, the 5th, and I really need it because I'm fixing to go to my aunt's house." And, I need money for gas, and I just need to go ahead and get it and, get it in the bank on the 1st. And we live 20 miles apart, and it's not like we're going to meet up the next day so he can hand me the check. He said, "I'll put it in the mail." I said, "If you put it in the mail, I won't get it till the 5th. I need it. I need it tomorrow on the 1st. And he said, "Well, I'm going to put it in the mail." And I said, I'll come by your house so you can go ahead and give it to me. And that way you won't have to put it in the mail. And he said, "If you come to my house, I'll have you arrested." And Dilara's in the car, so I'm sure she heard all this, just like she heard me yelling at him. But she's, she knows I love her dad, and I want her to love him. But I want him to be fair to us, and I want to stand. I want to try to model as far as I can healthy interactions, and she knows I try to not yell, but. So, and I knew he wasn't going to be home for an hour, maybe 2, because he was going to take her out to eat. And so while I was on that side a town, I just went to his house, and I was still trying to process all this stuff that just happened because I was really disappointed in him. And I was just really disappointed because I try to think better of him. I try to think the best of him, and that I try to think he really loves Dilara and he really wants to do what's best for her. But it's hard to do that. So I went to his house, and I parked on the street in front of his house, and I got my phone out, and I wrote him this email, and I'm going to put that on the internet, my email I wrote to him. And I asked him for the check. Here's what I said. I said, please give me a post-dated check today that I can cash tomorrow for child support for June, which you're supposed to give me on the 1st of the month. I told you that my aunt had surgery on her foot, and she desperately needs me to come tomorrow to stay with her. Children should be learning positive social skills through experiences at home, in their families, and in their communities. You are not teaching Dilara anything positive by refusing to give me the child support on time so that I can go take care of her great aunt. This is an act of service, and I try at every opportunity to show Dilara how important it is to serve others. When she has been with me, we have helped friends in many different ways. You are also not setting a positive example for her by telling me that you will have me arrested if I come to your house to get the check so that I can go take care of her great aunt who's recovering from having surgery on her foot, is on strong painkillers, and needs somebody with her. It is good that she has friends who have been helping, but I want to teach Dilara that family members should help when they can. I understand that, and like I said, he doesn't have any family members here. I understand, other than Dilara, I understand that you feel a need to hurt me, and I'm sorry about that. I'm still not clear on what I did, if anything, to cause you to hate me so much. I cannot co-parent with you, but I would be glad to go to counseling with you if you wanted to help me understand how to undo any damage I have done. And that's probably not good of me to take responsibility, but I always want to, I don't want to just always blame the other person. I want to always be open to looking at myself and saying, is there something I did to contribute to this problem? And I've always tried to teach Dilara that too. When she has a conflict, I say, look at yourself first, put yourself in their shoes. Did you do something that hurtful or disrespectful? And sometimes it's just misunderstandings, but still, I've never done anything to try to hurt you, even when I felt like you deserved it. I know I did upset you when I broke away from you in October of 2011, but I still think that the relationship we had was unhealthy for both of us, and I really did think you wanted me out of your life. I have tried again and again to restore some spirit of cooperation and goodwill without expecting you to meet any of my emotional needs. And the first couple of years after I had Dilara, I had adjustment problems, but I got that all worked out. And I've been in good shape mentally, emotionally, spiritually for years. I do love you better than ever. I don't think there's anything you can do that can stop me from loving you, since it is God's love, not my strength, that makes it possible for me to love my enemy. I am sorry if I was too harsh with you about the summer camps, but what you are doing is wrong. Part of you has to know that it is wrong to take a child away from her mother. You know she wants to be with me. You know you are using her to hurt me. You know I have never interfered in your relationship with Dilara. I wish you would show the same courtesy. Please give me the check. It is the right and honorable thing to do. Show me and Dilara that you are really the good man at heart that I tell her you are. It will be good for her to see us work this problem out and be kind to each other. I would like to apologize to you in front of her before you give me the check. I know you don't like it when I yell, and I'm sorry I disrespected you. I am not sorry for what I said, just for the yelling. This can also be a lesson to her to not yell herself. It is actually something I've been working on. So I sent him that, and I was sitting there, hoping he would respond favorably to that. And so I was just sitting there waiting, and I didn't know how. I knew he hates it when I yell at him, and so I was trying to backpedal and make things better, even though he wronged me. I was sorry I yelled at him. So I sent him that, and then I was still sitting there because like I said, I thought they'd be gone for a couple hours, and so after I sent that at 7:34, I said, check your email, because I don't know how often he checks his email. So I sent him a text because I thought he'd get his text. And then I tried to call. My next text was at 8:36. I texted, please let me talk to my daughter on the phone, because I tried to call them, and I called him like earlier in the day, and like I called him when I probably called him 15 times, but I didn't get an answer. And there again, even if most people don't do that, I treat other people like I want to be treated. And if there's something that's time sensitive, especially if it's my kids or my family or something, I say I will not ignore your phone calls. And I've told Sanan before, I said, and he did this with me. He wants, when I've got Dilara, I hope I didn't say his name. I'm not supposed to say his name. I don't know if I could fix that or not. When Dilara was younger, we went to the Y, and I left my phone in the car. And when I got to the car, he had called me and texted me and left a message. And so I called him back immediately, and he had left. He went about 20 minutes without not being able to get a hold of me. He left his job in the middle of the morning and was sitting in my driveway when I got his call. And then I came and I'm like, well, I said, don't panic. I'm not going to ignore you. And what did you think was going on that you had to come? Did you think I was in the house having sex with some other man in front of Dilara or something? And he's like, well, I didn't know what you're going, well, and I don't know what's going through his head, but that's control. He couldn't get a hold of me, and I don't know why he needed to panic. But I said, give me 2 hours. If we're in a movie somewhere, or if I'm at the Y, or I leave my car, keep calling me, but don't panic. And I tell my son, because if I've left my phone in the car, or I've gone outside or something, I might not hear it. So if you call me and leave a message, I might not get your message. So if it's something important, call me. If you've got to call me every 2 minutes until I happen to come back in the house or walk by the phone or come out of the bathroom, I'll hear it. So I always tell him, if it's something important, call me till you get me. And that's how I was treating him. So I kept calling him, and at some point, Dilara picked up the phone, and she said, all I heard her say was, "It's Lydia, it's Lydia." And then it got hung up, and then I called later, I don't know how long, I guess I've got a call log, and I called back, and she answered the phone, and she said, "Dad doesn't want to talk to you." And I was sorry if he was still mad at me. And I said, "That's okay." I said, "Well, where are you?" And then I heard, she just said, "Stop it, stop it." And then the phone went dead. So, and then that was weird. To me, that was weird. Why can't you just let me talk to my daughter? It's one thing for him. And I wanted to know if he read my email. I wanted to know if he got my apology, because if he got my apology and didn't accept it, and he still wasn't gonna, well, I used picking up the child support check as a reason to go face to face with him and try to talk about if I could get him to give me the child support check, if I could get him to open the door and give me a child support check, I thought I would have the foot in the door to say, can we discuss the summer schedule? Can we just share our opinion with each other and share our feelings and work something out that works for both of us? And I was sorry I yelled at him and all that. So I just want to know, did he get my apology and proposal for, it's like, well, let's show her how we can work things out. And so that was what time was that? And then I sent 8:54. Please, my last text, please show a little kindness. We have both messed up. Do not make it worse. I'm sorry I yelled at you. Please allow Dilara to speak to me on the phone. I will file a motion tomorrow to ask for 8 to 6 every weekday during the summer until after church and supper on Sunday and Wednesday. If you had agreed to let me have 5 weeks out of the 10, I might have settled for that. I'd forgotten that I'd told him I'd settled for 4 weeks in that email. Anyone would be upset to be cut out of their child's life. 1 week and 3 days out of 10 is unreasonable, and signing her up for camps behind my back when I'm available to take care of her myself is unreasonable. You taking the phone away from Dilara so she can't talk to me is unreasonable. I heard her say that you didn't want her to talk to me, and I heard her say, "Stop it," before you took the phone away from her just now. I guess I can file my own contempt of court motion too, as much as I hate to. I just want it to be noted that you are not willing to encourage the relationship between me and Dilara. That is one of the custody factors, and it might be the deciding one in our case. Please stop. You're better than this. And apparently he wasn't. I'm going to end this video. This is being very long. I don't know if anybody will ever watch this, but Dilara, someday she'll watch it. This is my account. But I'm going to stop it and do part 2 later. But it's just ridiculous what he took. He took me acting, trying to be loving, kind, patient, forbearing, and cooperative, and putting Dilara first, because he knows and I know Dilara needs she likes being with me. That's why she wanted to be homeschooled. Why do you want to be homeschooled? Because my mom teaches me so much and I get to be with her. So, you know, I'm a good mom. We've got a good relationship. And most people think that a parent-child relationship, a close parent-child relationship, is beneficial to a child. And somehow they've misrepresented it and twisted it around and tried to say that we were too close, my daughter and I, and the custody factors, one of them, you know, is what I just mentioned, is which parent, when they're doing comparative fitness analysis, which parent is more likely to encourage a close and continuing, or encourage and facilitate, or something like that, a close and continuing relationship between the child and the other parent. And that's what I was that's what I've been doing my whole life since she's been, or her whole life, is I've tried to nurture and accommodate his needs and her needs and help support them in having a good relationship. Because, you know, I was, when I got pregnant, and especially after he dumped me, even before he dumped me, I was afraid he was going to dump me. But, and Dilara, I didn't want him to abandon her. And he always said, well, he would support her financially, but he didn't know if he's going to be involved in her life. And then when she, when she was born, he decided that he did want to. But, and I'm not sorry. I had a lot of people say, oh, because he's Turkish and he's a Muslim, and they're like, oh, you need to watch Not Without My Daughter, and when she gets older, he's gonna take her to Turkey and you'll never see her again. And that was always a fear in the back of my mind, but I treat other people like I want to be treated. I don't want people to think the worst of me and expect the worst of me. I want them to expect the best of me. And that's what I did with him. I thought I thought at the time, I thought he was basically a good person with some emotional problems, but basically a good person. And when after Dilara was born, I felt like he really bonded with her. And he said that. He said, I didn't expect to get attached that quickly. And it made me happy, because I felt like, I wanted them to be bonded. I hated the idea of a child growing up without a dad. That's just horrible, because our preacher at the time, he was born out of wedlock. And his dad totally rejected him. Even when he was an adult and he tried to make connection with his dad and his half-brothers, his dad didn't want to have anything to do with him. And I know how that hurt him, to be rejected by your dad. And he was raised by his grandparents and his mom and his grandparents. So he had good, he had a good masculine role model and everything. But still, fathers are important, mothers are important, fathers are important. And I wanted to do everything I could to make sure Dilara had both parents, had two parents in her life that loved her and were engaged with her. And he wouldn't let it happen. But anyway, part 2, I guess I'll do it tomorrow. Bye.